Great. So if you haven't met me already, I'm Ross Yelsey. I'm part of the admissions team here at Columbia Journalism School, and I know I see some familiar names and faces from different webinars we've had over the fall season, and I'm really happy to kind of focus on something a little different. We've done a lot of events, as you might have attended, on different programs we offer, the master's programs, doctoral program, gone over some of the curricular kind of opportunities at the school. But today I wanted to introduce something that we've introduced to the school very recently called the Alumni Mentorship Program, and I'm really happy to have Pamela McKelvin-Jefferson, who is the Assistant Dean of Strategic Initiatives at the school, joining us to talk more about that. And Pamela, I thought maybe just to start, if you wanted to let people know a bit about your background and kind of what your role is at the journalism school.
Sure. So, hi, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you here. It's my pleasure to meet you all. I hope to see you soon on campus. As Ross mentioned, my name is Pamela McKelvin Jefferson. I am the Assistant Dean for Strategic Initiatives here at the Journalism School. And one of the things that I do is I work with all the senior leaders here to really kind of forward the vision, look at organizational objectives, drive operational excellence and change. And some of the things that I pride myself in, particularly as it pertains to you all and your ecosystem, is just looking at spaces of where we create community and belonging here. And so that's actually how I birthed the idea to have a alumni mentorship program. So I work again across all the different places. So I've had the pleasure of meeting so many of our dynamic, well accomplished alums, and they're always like, I would love to give back to the school in a meaningful way, like really be able to connect with the students. And so, and then obviously speaking with a lot of our students, wanting to get a taste of what's in the ecosystem, right? Looking at like people who are actually doing the work of journalism, actively engaged in that work in very meaningful ways all over the world, right? And so the mentorship program for me was a great way for us to be able to do that. So to actually be able to look at two of our most important ecosystems, our alums, which you would be in 2.5 seconds, because you know this program is rigorous and it's about a year. And then pairing our students who really want to kind of get a taste of that together. And it's been a really meaningful experience. I piloted it first last year and was overwhelming response. This year we had over 86% of our student body that actually participated. It's voluntary, so obviously we don't force anyone to do it. But what we have found is that people find it to be extremely meaningful and beneficial. Again, we're able to connect students with alums from all over the world. It provides an opportunity for either in person in a lot of spaces, because we have a lot of alums that are located in the tri-state area, and we've even had alums that have come back during alumni weekend or have had work here and have connected with the students in person. But then obviously we also, especially particularly for alums who are interested in like international journalism and things like that, we've been able to connect them with alums from all over the world. And so it's been a wonderful journey. So that's just a little bit of who I am and a little bit of how I thought about the journalism mentorship program.
Great. And for people who are, thinking of maybe attending next year, hopefully that'll work out for a lot of people who are attending these sessions or watching this, and join us next fall in the master's program. How soon could they potentially get involved in the mentorship program if they're interested in doing this as students?
Awesome. So what we try to do is during orientation, which happens in August, we open up the registration, and we allow and have all of our students have an opportunity to register in real time. Over the summer is when we recruit our alums to participate in the program. And then by August, when you step on campus, as soon as you do orientation, I will say hello. And one of the things that I will say is join me in the journey of having a mentor here during your time. And again, like I said, it's voluntary. So we put it up and we allow students to register. We ask students to complete an orientation, which we also require our mentors to do an orientation as well, so that they get an understanding of the program. I don't think I mentioned this, but it's the mentorship program's lens is career. So the mentors know that when they are joining with you, that they're that they're helping to mentor you through thinking about your next step and the things and what type of journalism you want to get into and your areas of interest. And we try to pair based off of that so that when you have questions or you want to ask these particular things, whether it's, how do I build my portfolio? Oh, do you know someone that works at this place or that place? Or, even mock interviewing, different things like that. Like they would be able to help in that area very specifically because they would have had experience in the areas of interest that you listed when you signed up.
Mhm. Great. And you're speaking about, was it 86%, I think you said, we're going to getting involved. How's it been going? Just I know as we've been in session now for about a month, a couple months now at the school, but how is the start of this kind of mentorship program been going this year?
So I can only go off of just like me seeing the students in the hall and saying, "How's it doing? How's it doing?" And so far, so good. We have students who didn't sign up that are like, "I want to do it," and so I've been trying to connect people on like it's almost like a second leg of it. But so far, I've found students to be extremely excited about the mentors that they have. I think this year, for me personally, I was just like, wow, our students are so, they're really amazing. They have such great backgrounds, and so it was a good journey to be able to make sure that I find someone that would be able to add value to the experience for them. But so far, so good.
Great. And I know you alluded earlier to the fact this is a fast-paced program for most students. It's usually, taken full-time. There's a part-time option, of course, but the full-time program is what most of our students will be doing, and most of them may be done with this program in terms of earning their degree in just 2 semesters, 9.5 months. So what kind of, support, they know is going to be intense. They're going to be out in the city. They're going to be doing a lot of professional skill building, but what kind of support can they kind of expect or, maybe take advantage of within the school community here?
Oh, I would say that there's just a wealth of support. One of the things that I think is beautiful about the journalism school is we're a small community, but we're a mighty community and we're a tight knit community. And what that means is that often what you'll find is from the time you get here, we open the doors as from everywhere from our faculty to our deans. They have open office hours. The dean himself has regularly scheduled time that he sets aside for students to be able to drop in. They sign up, they can drop in. The academic deans, they're available and they're accessible. So I think that that's one thing that's extremely unique. I've worked at many different universities. I've worked at two different universities and worked in different departments and schools. And you don't often get the opportunity to have such high open access to such the senior leadership in a way. I think they really value understanding the student environment and engaging with the students in meaningful ways. A lot of them are just, they obviously journalists have passion and the journalists themselves, so they love to hear stories, they love to engage and hear about the work that you're doing. So yeah, I would say support is definitely there. And that's just at the school level, right? The university has a number of different mechanisms of support. There's the university's Office of Student Life. We have our health center, and we offer students free advising, free mentorship, free counseling, all those different things. So, I mean, Columbia is just really amazing at the way in which they support the student experience. And at the journalism school, we're just as awesome. And in fact, you might be overwhelmed with how many opportunities you have to do like programming outside of the classroom. Like our faculty often bring in thought leaders and they'll open up their classrooms, they do workshops, they do all kinds of things. You can be like, wait a minute, I don't even know. I try to figure out how I can get into all these because they just really do offer a lot of opportunities to engage.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's an embarrassment of riches is what I would say.
Yeah, in addition to that, there's also a lot of student organizations too within the school,
That's
community
right.
groups and professional groups. Yeah, I don't know if there's any particular ones that you interact with, especially, but any highlights?
That's right. You're right. So I interact with all of them in the beginning. So we have our professional organizations. So we have student centered ones. So we have our National Association for Hispanic Journalists, our National Association for Black Journalists, our National Association for Indigenous Journalists. We have SAJA, which is our South Asian Journalists Association. We also have AHJA, which is our Asian American Journalists Association. We have Women in Media. So we have a lot of opportunities for students to engage in environments and ecosystems that really are of affinity to them, right? That helps them to build an even more centrated ecosystem, but also gives them an opportunity to develop and explore and provide to the community events and engagements that expose them to the things that you're passionate about, that resonates to a part of who you are in your identity. And that's one of the things that I think is beautiful here. And the way that I engage is I've developed a form or a way for students to be able to submit to get funding for events and things that they want to do here at the school. So again, I told you we have our faculty and our administration. There's so many different programs and opportunities for you to get involved, but we also want to provide opportunity and space for the students to say, this is actually what I would love to see. This is actually something I would love to have here. And is there an opportunity, a way for me to be able to do that? And is there any financial support or administrative support to make that happen? And I would say that through the Office of Student Affairs with Chanel and Melanie Huff and and myself, like you will be able to do that in very meaningful ways, and we support that as much as we can, financially and administratively. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to get involved.
Great. I have a couple more questions for Pamela, but for anyone who's watching right now and want to put any questions in the chat to me as the host, you can ask those whether it's about the mentorship program or other things about kind of the student experience and kind of the support systems we have here. Please put a question in the chat. I can ask those as those come in. But Pamela, I thought I'd ask a question just as you interact with students, in your time here. Is there anything you kind of would say in terms of advice for people about how to make the most out of all these different opportunities? There's the professional opportunities, social opportunities, kind of experiences out in the city in a short amount of time. Is there anything you would say in terms of how people can approach this usually very fast-paced, it's done before you know it kind of experience here?
Yeah, I would absolutely unequivocally say that I know that it's a lot, and I know that sometimes we feel like it's fast paced, and it is, but never underestimate community and underestimate the co-curricular programming that you will find outside of the classroom. I think it really does um, a beautiful marriage between what you will learn in the classroom and the way that the opportunities that you have to engage outside the classroom. And that if you don't take advantage of both, you're going to be missing out on something really beautiful about the school. And so I would say, as much as you can, take in everything that the journalism school has to offer. You're here for a year. It's your time. You engage in it. I mean, for those who obviously we know the doc program is a little bit more than a year. Part-time students have a little bit more of time here with us, but just take the time to engage and seek out community. That's important. What I've found to hear from a lot of alums is that they've grew such strong connections while they had their time here, and that they still have it to this day. It's been instrumental to them. And from my time, and in business and working in business, your network is connected to your network, which is why I created the mentorship program, to just even something as simple as expanding your network, right? Adding to who you know into your ecosystem directly correlates to your success in the next iteration of your life and your career. So I would say it's important to your purpose to engage with people and to do and have experiences outside of the classroom. So make sure that you do that. And experience New York. Oh my gosh, come on. You gotta experience New York. It's amazing. So as much as you can, like, don't become so engrossed in just everything that we're doing here that you don't step outside, take the train, go and experience one of the communities that you've heard about here, because it's true. I'm serious. New York is one of those places. I had a friend who was a singer. And she toured all over the world. The only places she would tell you that she didn't go is Antarctica, and Alaska, she would tell you. Oh, and Greenland, which is really like Iceland, right? Which is a really cool place. She was like, I've never been to those places, right? But otherwise, she said she's gone to all these different places in all the major cities. And I know some of you are from all over the world, so just please indulge me. I'm a New Yorker, so I'll just say it. She said New York is one of those places, those rare places that it is exactly what you see. So when you the New York that you see that's like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful, Times Square, all these things are always fast paced, or always, oh, it is actually exactly what you see, and you should experience all of it because it's amazing. And the beauty of coming here is that you will have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And if you're in our master's programs, your assignments will be to actually go out. That's part of your life day to day in a way that other Columbia students, who are maybe going to be writing a paper in the library or be taking a test somewhere here, they'll have a slightly different experience, but you're going to be like kind of required to get to know the city, which is great too.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Cool.
You'll
And
be.
then another question from, so, this is the Pulitzer Hall behind me in this image here. So that's where we all have our offices, our classrooms, student spaces, faculty, staff, everyone is there. What would you say kind of makes this community special within kind of the Columbia University world?
Uh, uh, the fact that it's so, again, because we're small and we do so much within just our building, it's almost like having your own mini um community within the larger community, honestly. Like, I know everybody can kind of say that, but the other schools are so much bigger. This one, that you really feel like you're living in like a small town, almost like a small town in this like bigger city. And people are around and available and accessible, and I think that that's what makes it really unique. If you have questions, if you just want to sit and just chat and talk, the building is open for students all the time. And when there's major news things like when the elections and things like that, like you'll see, like when everybody else is winding down, like the journalism school, like the students are reporting and they're with faculty reporting, and even deans are in there with you, just doing the work and engaging and eating pizza and writing and getting editing. And like this is it's a newsroom. It's an environment. And it's different. It's absolutely different and unique. Even how we function is unique. It's a smaller world within the larger galaxy.
Mhm.
We're that little planet, that little red planet, like in the galaxy, in the Milky Way. Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. And I see some good questions in the chat. So here are a couple. These are specifically about the Alumni Mentorship Program. So someone was wondering, maybe based on the first year's kind of groupings of alumni mentor partners, could you talk about how that kind of worked out to help the students become more prepared for life post-graduation? Like, have you noticed how it has really helped them kind of on that front?
Yeah, I mean, from some of the feedback, yes, a lot of them have felt like, even the ones where it might not have been, the person might have not been directly core, like they weren't a documentarian, but they were actually able to like look at their films, look at their pitch decks, give them that kind of advice, and also advice around about having gone to the journalism school, having experienced our recruitment fair that we have every year, which can be very high paced, and sometimes you might feel overwhelmed, like they've been through it, so they can help you to understand, well, pace yourself, here's what I've done, here's how you kind of like navigate the interview, that sort of thing. So they said it would have been very helpful. And even when you've gotten multiple offers, some of them have said, like, after they finish like their fellowships and now they have the opportunity to maybe move into full-time, making the right decisions has also been something that the mentors have been invaluable about. So just thinking about it, even outside of like, oh, this person is just right within my career, like exactly what I want to do. Just as a journalist and as someone who's a working journalist and has gone through these things, the advice that they have been able to give them has been super beneficial, and they continue. They continue naturally. So the mentorship program is only for a year, but I have heard from alums and from students that they still continue to engage and have community and ask questions and still get responses and feedback, which is really great.
A question about whether people who are going to be undertaking their master's projects, which, as people might know, are stories that people in the master's program will be doing as their kind of capstone, a big story about a subject they're probably really interested in, covering and learning more about. Is there any potential to kind of get some advising from the alumni mentor about that aspect of their experience here?
Absolutely. I think the mentors, from my feedback and the experience I've seen, they're open to, once you have them, you can ask them about any of those things. Obviously here we give you an advisor for your master's thesis that's equally as amazing, that helps you in that journey. But when you participate in the mentorship program, now you have someone who's done this from start to finish in having been in your shoes, and also is now, has the vantage point of being in, having been in industry to be able to help with that. Even if you've been in industry for decades, having someone else that also has that vantage point, it's just another set of eyes. It's another perspective. It's another angle to kind of look at to get you the very best, um, holistic feedback so that you can present your very best work in the end. So yes, it's been.
Great. A question, kind of someone wanted to know a little bit more about the steps for getting connected with a mentor. And this person was wondering, I can kind of answer this, I think, is can you do so as young as a sophomore or underclassman? So for that part of the question, this is really only for the graduate students. So if you're thinking about coming here and you're admitted, you come here as a master's student, you can take advantage of this, as Pamela was saying, once you get started at orientation time. But once you are here, can you maybe go over a little bit of that step process again of how you get.
So there's a mandatory, we have you sign up and we give you about a week to sign up. And then from there we do orientations. We offer two opportunities for students to do orientation. It's mandatory. You do not get paired unless you go through the orientation. The same thing with the mentors. They're required to do an orientation. And then from there, we start to do the pairings. So we do the matches, from the alums who volunteer, because everything is voluntary. So the alums volunteer and you all volunteer, and it's based off of the ecosystem that we have, and we do the very best in pairing you with someone who's aligned. What we ask is up to 3 areas of interest. We do that with the mentors, we do that with the mentees, like 3 different areas that of interest for you in journalism. And then we do the pairings based off of that. You will be paired with a mentor that has at least one, if not all 3 of your areas of interest, as part of theirs. And then from there, I do an introductory email to introduce you all. We talk about in the orientation, you'll learn like how much, like the touch points that you have, how they engage. Like mentors know that, for instance, you wouldn't be able to be on the Zoom without your camera on. Like you would have to have the camera on. They'd have to have the camera on because the point is to really develop a connection. And you can't, as much, especially if you're not able to do it in person, we want as much as you can to have this personal experience. You don't want to like never meet your mentor. You're on the phone just with them and they giving you advice, and then you go to an organization and they're right there. You don't even know because you've never seen them. So just things like that. We try to make sure that it's intentional, hands-on.
The question, in terms of areas, are there people who do like broadcasts, for instance, types of mentors in our ecosystem?
Absolutely. So we do have people who do multimedia journalism, broadcast journalism, investigative. So we have mentors that have graduated from the Still program, award-winning journalists, broadcast journalists. Yes, we have journalists from all those areas, um, that participate. Columbia has a very talented pool of alums to choose from, which is great.
Very cool. Is there a question about whether are there like certain like requirements in terms of how often you have to meet with that person over your time here? Is that kind of set, or is it something you can kind of develop independently?
So we ask for the alums and for the students to do at least 5 touch points throughout the year. So 5 touch points, about an hour. And you can break that up into 10, 30 minute touch points. You can break that up into, the 5 that you have, but also, you might do Slack or something like that where you can kind of text back and forth and things. So you do develop, and I give you resources for how you can develop your relationship. You can set up a mentor and mentee contract so that you understand. You set, like, here's how we've decided that we'll engage with each other, so that you all are clear about your expectations, and then you can both honor it and kind of go back to that. or it could be very fluid. So I provide you with the tools, but I allow you all to kind of set how you're going to go because, you get busy, you get very busy as a student, and so and the alums might be very busy with work and life as well. So you all will establish that, but the goal and the ask that they know is at least 5 touch points throughout the academic year, as well as 2 additional ones during the recruitment season, because you might get anxious, you might need like a last minute. Oh, can you please like look over this resume? I had to tweak it. Can you do, a quick mock interview, different things like that? Or I got this offer. What do you think? How, should I negotiate? Should I, all those types of things. So the 2 extra additional kind of give you leeway to have access to them even more so during the actual recruitment season. But yeah, it's 5 touch points to you. And when I do it like that, because you don't really realize that meaningful relationships, particularly when it comes to mentorship programs, quality versus quantity. Like you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be so much like, oh, I feel this stress. I have to meet with them every week or it doesn't have to be that way. It just, if you have open lines of communication and you develop and understand like these are the touch points that we're going to have, those meaningful interactions make all the difference. All the difference.
Great. And any other questions? I think we got through most of the ones in the chat there. Let's see, that may be it for now. But I'm really happy we have this new opportunity. I know we have an amazing alumni network, as Pamela said, of people who are all over the U.S., all over the world, who are working in journalism at all sorts of different levels, doing all sorts of different things. It's always something you can graduate into and be a part of, but it's great that you can already start to make these connections with this community through this, from your first weeks as a student at the school. It's a really great new innovation. So I'm really happy this could be something you can look forward to if you choose to apply and get into the school and join us in the future.
Yeah. If you have any other questions, Ross can share with you all my contact information. I'm happy to answer any other additional questions, but thank you so much. I hope to see y'all at
Thanks, everyone.
any,
Great. And
any
just a reminder, since it's November 12th today, that the or 13th, what is it today? 13th.
day is
That
it?
there's yes, that there's about a month and a couple days now to get an application together. So if you are thinking of applying, if you're kind of on your way, until December 15th, you'll have plenty of time to put together your materials. We'll have other webinars coming up about application tips. And of course, there's always a way to contact our office, which is to write to the apply.journalism@columbia.edu address. And one of my colleagues or myself will be able to kind of get back to you with anything that you're curious about in terms of the app or any issues you're kind of encountering as you put together your application. So happy to chat anytime between now and then. So luckily, there's plenty of time still to get everything together at this time of year. But thank you again for tuning in, and thank you, Pamela, for talking about this great program. And I hope to see all of you at a upcoming event soon. I think we have a lot of things coming up, including some sample classes in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for those.
Nice. Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks,
And thank
everyone.
you for your thoughtful questions.
Have a great day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.